Welcome to Bear Down and Beyond, hosted by your boy Samuel, and I'm excited to introduce our first ever guest, former Troy High star running back, earned first team All-State honors as a senior, rushed for over 2,000 yards and over 30 rushing touchdowns his senior year, offensive MVP of the regional final, state semifinal, and state championship game, former Iowa Hawkeye running back from 2011 to 2015. Damn, you're old, man. He rushed over 100 yards in 5 games in 2015, 256 rushing yards against Illinois, 4 rushing touchdowns in a single game over North Texas, and now you're head coach of Troy High, Jordan Canzeri. How you doing, man?
Hey.
It's been a minute, man. It's been so long.
I know it has. Quite the intro.
Hey, I almost spent half the episode with just your accolades, man.
Hey, no. I appreciate you having me as first guest. But, it's definitely been crazy for where I am now to where I was. But it's been a ride. It's been a ride for sure.
I appreciate you taking the time here. I know you're a busy guy, head coach of the Troy High varsity team. Mm-hmm. But there's a couple things I want to talk about this head coaching position first. First thing I want to talk about on the agenda, how did you come across this opportunity? Did you have any previous coaching experience before? Like, how did this opportunity come to you? And I just want to kind of go through that experience with you and kind of explain to the audience, like, how that came about.
Yeah. So, I started off as just recently being done playing football, and I started working as an all-subject tutor at an alternative learning program school here in the district, and the principal there was my old offensive line coach. So right away, he's like, hey, I'm putting you with one of the toughest groups. They're great kids, just been through a lot that I know you got the thick skin from football that you can handle them. So it was an awesome opportunity, definitely helped change my perspective just on things in life in general, but loved what I did there. And a few years later, I get reached out because he recommended me and some others that I've worked with and just been around through the district that there was a principal's assistant position here at the high school. So I said yes to it, even though I've made the joke to a lot of people that 3-4 years ago, if you asked me if I was going to be working back at Troy High, I would have said, heck no. I did not see myself coming back, but things aligned, and I was definitely happy with the opportunity. And even in college, I would always say, I can't wait to have a job where I wear a suit every day. Now I have to. Don't love it, but hey, it's fine. And then was varsity, indoor and outdoor track coach. Even before getting the job, was doing positional training, recruiting services, speed and agility with athletes from 9 years old all the way to college. That's kind of for the past 4 or 5 years getting that coaching experience. But with the offensive coordinator position being available, because my principal that I assisted, he became the head principal at Ballston Spa. Okay. I was nervous, but I was like, yeah, I always told myself I wanted to coach in high school. I just felt like it was cool to be able to give younger kids an opportunity, especially from what I've had in my experience. And then the head coach from last year, great guy, amazing person. He got the opportunity to now take that role as assistant principal. So it's something that I've said to people. He's a great person, great individual. The kids love him, that he cares so much about the kids, cares so much about the program, that he knew with the new job he couldn't really put all the time and energy he would want to as a head coach. So he said to me, just brought me in a room, was talking to me that I was somebody he wanted to recommend, and a few others. And before I knew it, I was named the new head coach. And again, he's a person, he's still involved. He's volunteering, helping out with the program. Anytime I have a question, he calls, I call, and he answers and helps me out. So again, it's nice to know that, to have people like that as support. But definitely has been a whirlwind for some events to now be here.
No, that's awesome. And congratulations again. And it's great to see players become coaches, coaches become mentors or more executive roles throughout a whole full circle of a football career. We'll talk about the kids in a minute, because being a head coach or coach of a varsity team is very impactful on a student's professional, personal, collegiate, or athletic career and development throughout their lifetime. It's a very important piece that you're going to play as they grow up into, boys into men, so to speak. But I want to talk about you first. Your rookie year as a head coach, what are your expectations for yourself? I guess on the field or as a coach, what are your expectations for yourself personally? And then we'll talk about the expectations of the students and how you want to have an impact on them and all that good stuff.
Yeah, no, I mean, for myself, right away, I'm so used to watching film anyway. I went to YouTube, Google, anything that I could find of like coaches just talking about their first year. Luckily, I have Iowa teammates that have coached, and then also Iowa alumni that have coached that I've even reached out to and been like, hey, like, what were some of your struggles your first year? What were some of your issues? And just, again, to be able to like get that experience, to get that, feedback. For me, I just know I just have to simplify things. Relax, not try to install an immediate like Andy Reid style offense, thinking like everything's got to be super intricate, where I want it to be something that can be advanced, but basic to the point that a kid can hop in and just immediately kind of roll with and kind of understand, and not be so anxious on the field trying to remember all these different things, but just be confident in what we show them, install it, and then they can just fly around and play football. So it's something where I know that I've even told the kids, and we had a parent meet and greet this past week, and I've even said to them, like, I'm a person that I'm going to lose sleep regardless, because I'm like, hey, am I doing it enough? Am I game planning enough? So at least I know I'm always going to like push myself to do a little more. But yeah, it's just try to simplify, try to, not go too crazy right away. Focus on the basics and focus on the fundamentals of the position, and, the game will play itself.
Yeah, you mentioned simplifying your kind of own internal day-to-day responsibilities of work, and we were talking a little bit off screen, about the kind of fluctuation of coaches in and out here over the last couple of years. And one of the things that we hear a lot as football fans, watching a lot of ESPN or listening to training camps and preseason, is culture in the locker room. What is the culture that you want to bring to this team, to this organization, as Jordan's being the head coach here? Like, what is the culture that you want to establish from day one for this team?
So it's funny that even now that I'm thinking about it, I did not like create it because my last name starts with a C, Canzeri, but I've told the kids, the parents, that I have a philosophy of the 3 C's. So the focus is character, culture, and then community. And as you kind of touched on, I know in high school, especially as a varsity head coach, that's a detrimental point in a student athlete's life of growing, maturing, developing. So I tell the guys that I want to make sure that you are growing on the field, off the field, knowing how to conduct yourself. A lot of my opportunities are just from treating people with respect and just doing things that they can just have that daily growth of having one step closer to being somebody at least more prepared for the world. After high school, what they'll face if they do play in college or if they go into the work field. And as we know, that there's plenty of times to get hit with something you are not ready for or prepared for. So just to help them, be anything more prepared for that. And then that ties into the culture where I say to them, seniors, you have the opportunity to better yourself, give yourself an opportunity for after high school, better the team, but leave the jersey in a better place. And that's something I got from Iowa, that you have all these younger kids watching you, seeing how we're supposed to hold ourselves accountable. How do we make the locker room look? And it needs to be an environment that the next kids that come out of middle school into the high school, JV, or some of those young kids that get an opportunity to play on varsity, that it's not a do this because we said so, but we have leaders that show by example, have that accountability. But again, it's more of like an inviting motivation push rather than just screaming and yelling, telling them to do something right. And then it ties into the community where my guys are 100% going to do community service. We have events that I want to have involved with the local elementaries to give those younger kids that hopefully that like pride to look forward to, oh, one day I want to be on varsity. sort of thing. And even our fall camp, we have our purple and gold in-house scrimmage, created this fall kickoff event that's going to be free for the public. People can come. So just something that I really wanted to make sure that people understood right away, that I care about the kids, I care about their development and their future, but I care about the kids that will be next, and then I care about how the community feels about the program, how the kids conduct themselves in the community, and the whole nine. So hoping that the 3 C's really stick.
That's awesome. I love that. And I'm sure you're going to do a great job setting a great example for these athletes and these kids and these students, because you've had a lot of success in your football career. And I'm sure you're going to be a great head coach. And I know, is it training camp, or training starts Monday? Is it considered
Official
training camp at high school?
Camp. Yep.
Fall
so official,
camp.
Yep, fall camp. So,
very cool.
Oh yeah, definitely looking forward to it. But I won't deny I'm nervous.
Hey.
Less than a month away from the first game, so that's when the true test is. And obviously I care, like I said, on all those other metrics, but you got to win,
right?
So
you got to win, and you got to figure out somehow, and I'm sure you will. It's not going to happen overnight, of course, but I'm sure you'll figure out the tools for success over your first rookie year as a head coach. Heading into, because I've been watching Quarterback on Netflix, right? A lot of us get ingrained in just what's going on in the field with their team or their favorite player or their coach. And the guy fumbled the ball, he didn't catch it, the coach made a bad call. But what we don't see is the things happening off the field, behind the scenes, that I personally find very interesting.
Yeah.
And I'm sure a lot of the audience members will too, especially if you watch shows like Hard Knocks, Quarterback, and just paying attention to the training camp and preseason. Your fall camp starts Monday. What are your day-to-day responsibilities? And I'm sure you mentioned you're figuring this out yourself, but ideally, what are your day-to-day responsibilities heading into fall camp? And then maybe this is a different question heading into your first game, your second game, the final game of the season. What are you doing as a head coach to best prepare yourself as a coach for success, but also the team heading into Monday for their first day of practice?
Yeah, so myself, again, just using the references I have, continually watching videos and listening to others' experiences to try to learn from. But I have a great staff. We have people that have been coaching here for 9 years, all the way down for some that are 2. And for myself, just hitting 30. So definitely do feel the age starting to kick in.
Didn't mean to bring that up in your intro.
Hey, but it's true. It is true, and the kids love to remind me about it. But to have younger staff and then a few older, to have that good balance where I think we've really come together. And even when I was talking with them, I told them that even though I have this experience and where I played and who I know and all these different things, I want it to feel like more of a round table where I want it to be joint decisions. I want to hear feedback. I need constructive criticism, because I'm not somebody you tell me I need to do something different, just be like, oh, no, I know better. Like, I will evaluate and try to change my perspective just to make sure I'm coming from that right place. But just from the meetings that we have, just to prepare us to solidify everything which we've been doing, I think I'm confident in the game plan that we have going into camp. And another thing is just with the kids, I have to just make sure we hold ourselves accountable on the same thing of time management. I'm telling them that they need to be here before 8:30. We have a 9 o'clock meeting. We roll from the meeting into practice. We will provide lunch. We have a real good support staff here with even the parent football club that's going to provide lunch. Myself, I even have, I want to provide healthier snacks for some kids, where it's certain circumstances where in a public school district you have some kids that are very fortunate, and you have some that aren't. And I even say to some of my kids that have some of those tougher circumstances, have to take 3 buses to get here, walk here, all those different things, that just like see yourself as like the hero in the story, and use that as the motivation, and know that that's going to like sharpen your edge and make you a lot more prepared again for what comes next later in life, rather than, somebody that's just had everything handed to them. So it's to get their minds right, get them prepared. But then, as we know, and it's funny that I bring it up and I don't really get any fight from it, that the kids are like, oh yeah, no, yeah, it's true. The energy you have to bring, the motivation you have to bring. Back when I was playing football, like, we didn't have the video games that had the crazy graphics. And like, I remember my first cell phone, again, dating myself. I even joke with the kids about it. A Nokia, chuck it on the ground, it'd break, put it back together, and still play Snake. That they have so many distractions, so many different immediate gratifications. They're bored, they can watch Netflix, they can pull a game up, they can do anything. And I keep telling them that they have to try to look at the long game, the big picture, where football isn't something you can just pull up and think you're going to run around like Christian McCaffrey, and then when you don't, they get super upset with themselves. And I just say it's a day-to-day thing. Just trust yourself, believe in yourself. You will fail, but all those people on TV, especially that show, QB1, they failed more than anybody. And that's why I also like that show too, where you have guys like Kirk Cousins saying like, yeah, I see a therapist and I talk to them about like decisions I had to make. But at the end of the day, you just know that you tried your best. You roll forward, just continually trying to do your best, and that's all that matters. So it's definitely, again, the balancing of the schedule, making sure everything's timely and goes in order. But again, just the mindset of the kids and preparing them, even when they have the down days, just to try to like bring that morale, keep that energy, and make sure that we just, again, roll in with that good mentality into week one.
No, 100%. And talking about week one, and you're kind of at a balance where this stage of their athletic career, it's about personal development. It's not all necessarily about winning, but you want to win to a certain extent, I guess, you know, while you're growing as an athlete, as a person, as a community member, a leader to their school. Yep. So not to put any pressure on you, Coach, but do you have any expectations in terms of wins for your first season, or just how is the schedule looking? How is the team looking? I know you still haven't had your first practice, but I'm sure you know some of the tape from the former sophomores, juniors, incoming seniors. What are your expectations, I guess, as a team? Is there a certain, you know, expectation in terms of success in that, whether that KPI is wins or yards or just growth? You know, how are you looking at heading into week one of the season?
So with the kids I have now, I'm confident in. Some of them I've known for years and years since they were in 7th grade, as soon as I came into the district and worked. So now to have them as seniors is definitely awesome to take on that role, but then have those kids there with me. So definitely it feels a little bit different in that even standard that I already have some of those personal connections. And then again, with my role here as principal assistant, I see them in the halls, I'm talking with them, issues come up, they can come to my office. And it's, again, just to like build that bond so they trust me. And if they trust me and trust the coaches, that's how we can play some of our best football. And I tell them, and that's just something that I've had embedded in me for a long time, and hence of where I was able to even lead myself, is I do not think anything otherwise of winning and having full-on success and playing until we can't play no more, where, you know, I always had people look down on me for my size. I always had people tell me that when I was younger, oh, stop running like that. You can't run like that once you get to varsity, and I did. It's just, I tell them that you have to have this like undying like belief in yourself that what you're doing is like actually going to become something, and you believe no matter what we're going to win, believe no matter what we're going to get to the championships and stuff like that, where if you have other thoughts that hit your mind, then what's the point? And that's not even really, obviously the game of football, it's tough. And I even heard this one speech that I liked, that it's just winning isn't fair to anybody. There's got to be one team that loses, and that hurts. It's sad, and it's not great feeling, but, you know, I expect every other coach we face to also tell themselves and their team that they're winning every game. So, you know, that's the mentality, that's the mindset, that's the energy, the approach. So, you know, again, it's just up to me to make the decisions, especially as head coach, but also offensive coordinator, put us in the right position, have great assistants. And then again, the defense are coaches that have been here, are vets that I trust, and will, again, just let them do what they do best. And so I'm confident in what we can do. No,
I love that mentality, and I think winning is very important. The only reason I brought it up so kind of casually is because you never know in the society we live in what they got, you know, for us, for expectations. Some side of the culture says it's not all about winning, but people like us is like, it's all about winning, and having that mentality is extremely important in my opinion. And it seems like you're bringing that culture to the locker room as well. All right, Coach, bringing you back through memory lane a little bit. We're going to go back to some of your Iowa days. I had some questions, you know, back to your collegiate career, because just like I mentioned, like behind the scenes kind of things, and I'm predominantly more of a NFL guy than college guy. I watch college football on Saturdays and stuff, but I don't know everything like as much as I do in the NFL. But back when we were chatting years ago, and we used to hang out all the time, used to play at Iowa, right? And do you want to mention to the audience like some of the players you used to play with? You were 2011 to 2015. I know some of them are like James Daniels. He was an offensive lineman of the Chicago Bears. Obviously, we're a Bears fan, but what are some of like the players that are maybe playing in the league right now that you were playing with at Iowa, and do you keep in touch with any of these guys anymore, and things like that?
Yeah. So there's some that the opportunity to play regardless is, I'm very happy for them. Excited to see even the ones that are still playing, some that even have recently retired. But from even my younger years, people that the Bills fans would recognize as Micah Hyde, safety. He was just unbelievable athlete.
Is he still playing? Is he still playing? Yep.
Oh yeah, still.
He
playing.
was on the Packers before.
Yeah, was.
And
on the Packers,
I know that
now
name
the
very
Bills.
familiar because he probably intercepted all my quarterbacks about a dozen times. So.
Oh yeah, and great guy, and I think it might have been my freshman or sophomore year when he left. Can't think right now, but offensive tackles. Brandon Sheriff, who are still in the league now, and he was a monster in the weight room and the field. Just to be around individuals like that. As you mentioned, James Daniels with the Bears, and now he's with the Steelers. George Kittle, tight end, who was just always was a great guy, always had good energy. And to just see his success has been awesome. And just even the energy he brings, and like people, it's his charisma people love, and just the fact that he's the same way on the football field, off the field, even in the WWE.
Yeah, he loves that wrestling.
Yeah, oh yeah. So it's just stuff like that. I'm real happy for him and his wife Claire, and just my center that I played with. We came in the same year, Austin Blythe. He just recently retired from the Seahawks. Nice. But there's so many different guys. So many different names, but that's just, again, I was even telling some of my younger kids today where I want them to realize kind of my stance, where I'm trying to say to them, you have to trust my experience, in the sense of, I'm not saying that just so you think I'm the best coach ever, but it's just the fact that I had the blessing to be around those types of individuals, around those type of workers, athletes, people that just were relentless individuals, but then also great people off the field. Again, that's just a blessing that I have to appreciate, and then know that I can use those again as references when I'm working with different kids and telling them that, like, no, I'm telling you, I know what it takes to be successful, not even from what I was able to accomplish, but just around the type of people I was. And then even guys that I stayed friends with that even left Iowa. One of my best friends, Jake Rudock, he was with us at Iowa, was with Jim Harbaugh at Michigan his very first year. I think they won the Orange Bowl against Florida. He went to the Lions, was with the Dolphins, and he moved back to Michigan with his wife, and he has a daughter. I have teammates that are, having daughters, sons, popping kids out left and right, that I'm just so happy for. But again, it's definitely awesome to have that, and then people to reference from. And the last person I'll mention, great person, just even from our experience playing at Troy, this person, Jordan Lucas, we faced each other in the semifinals in states. Went to New Rochelle. We ended up winning. We only beat him by 1 point. It was a crazy game. And he ended up going to Penn State. We stayed connected, obviously, as two New Yorkers and playing in the Big Ten. Yeah. He ended up getting drafted by the Dolphins, and then eventually was with the Kansas City Chiefs, won a Super Bowl with Mahomes. Was actually the Super Bowl that I went to with Jake, which it was crazy that happened. But he, for free, just because being a great guy, hopped on a Zoom call and talked to my kids.
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's just stuff like that I'm hoping that with me being able to offer, and again, just get the kids excited, get them ready, eager to want to play. You know how it is. Yeah. Even if you're saying the great stuff, the good stuff, it's nice when you have other people say it too. You have
evidence and other people that it's coming out of other people's mouths 100%.
Oh, yeah. So it's really cool to be able to have that. And again, just real grateful for some of the people I've met.
No, 100%. That's awesome. And when I was on Twitter scrolling when you got the announcement of becoming the head coach of Troy High, did I see correctly? You were wearing some Chiefs gear. Did you ever do training camp in preseason? Did any tryouts for the NFL?
Yeah.
If I saw that correctly, I never knew that before until I saw that photo.
Yeah. So after I finished at Iowa, I had opportunities. I went to 2 rookie mini camps. My agent got me the opportunity. I broke my hand with the Chiefs. Didn't tell them, which I was told by others that I should have. But hey, can't change the past. Yeah. It's like I already had my senior year 2 high ankle sprains. I knew that was an issue. And when I broke my hand, and I didn't know it at first, but it felt like a knife was going through my hand. I didn't want to tell them because I didn't want them to, again, judge me on that. And the very next day, we did blitz pickup, so that was fun. But had that camp with the Browns, and then lastly had a tryout with the Rams a week after I had surgery on my hand. I cut the cast off at a bar I was working at, flew out there for the tryout, and they told my agent they loved me, but the team doctor wasn't going to clear me for another month, and they needed somebody now. So that's why I went out to Japan. But it was just, again, the opportunity to be around those guys. I was in a lot of the kids, they get excited for certain names. So when I say, senior year at Iowa, I played against Christian McCaffrey. I was talking to one kid today who's obsessed with Odell Beckham, and I was like, yeah, I played against him in the Outback Bowl. He caught a one-handed catch right in front of me. And then in the Chiefs camp, me and Tyreek were in there together. We were eating together. We had tables together. So, again, it's just, I tell these kids that I've been around dudes and I've watched them, almost studied them to be like, okay, like, what do I need to do better? What do I need to change? And then now I hope that can help with the opportunity I have for coaching. But
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that until I saw those pictures of, I don't know who was posting them, but it was you and some Chiefs gear. I was like, wait, I never knew that about Jordan. That's pretty cool. That's awesome.
They had me in, I think, number 30 just for the camp.
Yeah, I thought it was like 40. Yeah.
Browns had me in 40, and I was like, yeah, that's not true anymore.
That's hilarious. Now, since we're on the topic of NFL, I want to have some fun NFL talk here.
Mm-hmm.
We're all about, bits and all that kind of hot takes and stuff right here.
Yep.
Last time I remember, you didn't necessarily have an NFL team, did you? Are you not a fan of a certain team, just following your players and former teammates?
Yeah, I just follow guys that I played with or certain individuals that I'm really excited to watch. And at one point when I was growing up, I followed the Saints only because when Reggie Bush went there. And once he left, I really didn't care after that. But it was just, again, as a running back, I'd watch all of his highlights, try to practice it on the field, doing what he did. And I just never really had a team, but I love to watch it, love to be around it. And this is, I think, my 3rd year now in fantasy. At first, I was like, I don't think it's a big deal. I don't really care. And now, my 3rd year, I think I'm in 3 different leagues. So it is fun to watch.
Fantasy football is amazing. One of the best parts about football season. My league, I'm the commissioner of. We just did our draft order, and I was trying to think of fun, creative ways to do our draft order. I wanted to do it like on a PS2 game, but ended up being a PS4 game for some simplicity, maybe able to stream it. A Royal Rumble, 20-man Royal Rumble, 30-man would have been too long.
Yeah.
Computer simulated. Everyone is assigned a character, so it's randomly assigned. I did a spinning wheel with all the 20 wrestlers' names.
Yep.
And it was all wrestlers, majority of the wrestlers that we knew back when we were a kid.
Yeah.
So George Kittle would have loved this thing, this little kind of draft order gig that we had going on. And so if your character was the first one out of the group to be eliminated, you had the 12th pick.
Oh, okay,
and so on and so forth. So the last man standing had the first pick. It was a fun,
cool,
creative way
that's nice,
to do fantasy. And we had a lot of fun with it. And I live streamed it on Kick, like a streaming platform, so everyone in the league could watch it or any other people could watch it. So that was super fun.
Definitely creative. Yeah, I haven't heard of that before. Yeah.
And we're trying to think of fun instead of grabbing it out of a hat or something. But definitely did that, and it was a lot of fun. Fantasy football's crazy. All right, so if you don't have a certain team, what are some of the storylines that you're excited to watch this season? You mentioned following players. You have a couple fantasy teams, so I'm sure you follow a lot of player storylines. What is one of the bigger team, like a team storyline that you're excited to watch this season and develop a player storyline this season? Anything in particular this season you're kind of excited to watch and see develop?
Yeah, I would say a little bit influenced just because of Hard Knocks and just recently watching it, but just I've taken some of the things that I've even heard in there and talked to the kids already about, but just to see Aaron Rodgers, a person that we've all watched for so long growing up, and a great player, great competitor, but even when you watch his show, you see a great teammate, that him being now with the Jets is definitely going to be crazy. Dalvin Cook getting signed with the Jets is going to be crazy. Last year, for them to get Garrett Wilson and Sauce Gardner, and then in the show even seeing that every day they compete against each other. So I have two individuals that are seniors and they are workhorses, but I tell them, like, you two need to keep competing against each other. When one goes, the other defends, and vice versa, because that will sharpen. Iron sharpens iron, and it's definitely something that I'm really looking forward to. And then going back to having that short stint like in the Saints, Derek Carr, to see him now at a whole place there. I also love Jamal Williams because I also watch anime. I like it.
Yeah.
And to see he's literally – it's tough because other people will be like, oh, he's a jerk. But you really can't expect them after every practice to sign everybody's stuff.
No.
Like, they'll be there for hours and hours. It's sad to say no to people, but he runs around. He's like, if you have something anime – he'll stop specifically.
Did you see some little kid? And I went to a couple Bears training camp back when I was a kid in Bourbonnais. Got autographs from Devin Hester. I was chasing Brian Urlacher across the university field. He was on a golf cart. I was chasing him for like a mile and a half trying to get his autograph. He was going to a radio show. Jay Cutler, Julius Peppers. I got all their autographs. But did you see Jamal Williams? It was a little kid. He brought his book of Pokemon cards and he was reviewing all the Pokemon cards. That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing too, where it's fun to have, especially with someone like me that does watch it. I first started when I was in Japan just to try to learn the language, and then I was like, okay, wait, oh, this actually, that quote was deep. Like, I was like, okay, I like this stuff now, some of them at least. But to again have somebody in that position, with that stardom, to be literally running around. If a kid has a mini Pikachu toy, he'll run over. If they have a card, he'll run over and just like, oh yeah, y'all know me. And it's just even the Lions guys would say when he was with them that like his spirit, his energy was just so positive and fun that again it's nice to see some stuff like that. So he's a person I'm looking forward to see with the black and gold.
Yeah, this is predominantly a Bears podcast, right? Bear Down and Beyond, and you mentioned a name that makes our stomach hurt, which is Aaron Rodgers. You're excited to see him. If we did this last year, we'd probably turn off the mic and I would have just leave. But you can talk about Aaron Rodgers all you want now because I am so happy he's out of the NFC North. And the same thing with Dalvin Cook because he was a monster. He was, he had injuries throughout his career and sometimes he would play or not. But when he was on the field with Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, those days and those games I would just dread. And then Aaron Rodgers, it was just an automatic loss if you're a Bears fan. So. I
mean, hey, I wanted to save it for last. And we already had this conversation, and I've been rubbing it in some of my buddies' faces who doubted. But I think you guys are going to be a team to reckon. Like the guys, the receivers, the defenders that have come in, and Justin Fields' development, and a lot of people forget about some of his stats last year. It kind of go under the rug that he was beating Jalen Hurts in some rushing stats, and even some of his passes were, I think it was this one crazy stat I saw about like they were catchable balls, but they weren't able. It was like something I saw that I was like, see, again, people don't realize that he's developing. And now he has a lot of receivers, DJ Moore, Claypool, guys that are really going to help out, running backs that are still solid. And I've tried to tell people, I think maybe not this year, but at some point that I think Rashawn Johnson running back.
From the backup from Texas, right? Yep, Rashawn Johnson. Remember?
Yeah.
He was behind Bijan.
Bijan. Like, being behind a guy like that's tough. But I watch his highlights too. He is a beast. So he's a guy that I think can develop and really become a star too. So I think y'all are going to be real good this year. It's
like you stole my agenda here. I have any thoughts on the Bears ? Justin Fields ? And you went right into it. I love that. They're going to love that. You heard it here first. Jordan Canzeri, Bears are going to be in the Super Bowl? What? That's crazy, bro.
I think at least playoffs, but hey, we'll see.
No, I'm so excited for the Bears this season. Like you mentioned, Justin Fields, he finally has weapons. He has an O-line. He's got receivers. He's got a defense that can then help him. Like, I think there was a stat, the last 11 games last year, he was ranked, his QBR was 4th ranked in the league.
Mm-hmm.
He had over 1,000 rushing yards last year, and that's because he couldn't really do anything else. All due respect to the players that were on the field last year, he had, like, car salesmen and mechanics at O-line and wide receiver. There's so many, like, catchable balls that, you know, the team fumbled the bag on him, and it all worked out because we technically were the worst team in the league, and we had the first pick in the draft, but it never really felt like that when you were watching Fields. He was putting 30-plus points on teams like the Dallas Cowboys that have a solid defense, like Michael Parsons, like that crew and company. Is it Trayvon Diggs is the defensive back on that team. So, like you mentioned, I'm so excited. They are so excited to watch, you know, the Bears this year, the development of Justin Fields. We got DJ Moore, Chase Claypool. He's really got to prove himself this year. We spent a second-round pick on him. We got Cole Kmet, just got an extension. Darnell Mooney coming off an injury. So an exciting year. And the fact that the Packers did not get better this offseason. They got rid of Aaron Rodgers. The Vikings did not get better this offseason. The only team in that division that's got a lot of hype, and I'm not going to believe them until I see them, and a lot of NFC North fans will think the same way. It's kind of like the Jets of the AFC East is the Lions. We don't really – the Lions have all this hype. They're going to be favored to win the division, but they've never really been there before, probably 1 year with Jim Caldwell and Calvin Johnson and Matthew Stafford. But you just got me my ears perking because everyone thinks I'm biased in my clips, on my TikToks, and my reels when I talk about the Bears going 12-5 or talk about Justin Fields is going to be an MVP in 3 years, guarantee it. Super Bowl winning quarterback in 3 years, guarantee it. But you have someone unbiased perspective, and no, I didn't slip him 100 before we recorded this show that's talking about the Bears and Justin Fields. So that's awesome.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and the thing I thought about when I was even watching some of the highlights even this recent week, because I'm obviously with fantasy thinking about who I want to pick at quarterback. And last year, I almost was an Eagles fan because I didn't even do it on purpose, but I ended up having Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, and A.J. Brown. So I was like, all right, I'm an Eagles fan this season. But Jalen Hurts is a very gifted runner, super strong legs. Like, he'll hold freaking truck over even some linebackers to get in the end zone running those feet. But he knew how to run, but he didn't have the second level speed. The one, I think it was against the Lions, Justin Fields literally split two safeties and they could not catch him.
Against his old teammate too, I believe.
And so people don't realize how fast he is too. And like, again, his arm strength, and people even doubted him when he was at Ohio State in the throws that he could not make. But he's definitely developing, and we saw it with Jalen Hurts last year. He went from more running, wasn't really in a situation that he felt comfortable in. Only first time last year he had an offensive coordinator back-to-back years that obviously showed development. Justin Fields, to have now more confidence, more weapons, he's going to grow. He's going to take steps. So I'm excited to watch him. Big Ten quarterback too, so I got to root for him.
He got that number one wide receiver. We've seen it with Josh Allen getting Diggs. We've seen it with Jalen Hurts getting A.J. Brown. We've seen it with Joe Burrow, you know, when he got his Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Like, big things are here to come. And I've seen a lot of people online, sports analysts, coming to the Justin Fields train. You better hop on now, because starting week 1, I do not want to hear anybody saying Justin Fields is a great quarterback when we've been saying it all along, no matter what the numbers and statistics might have indicated last season. Awesome. Talking about positions, talking about NFL and kind of ranking, I want to play a little game with you. Let's rank. You know, we see a lot of clips that I do. I'm ranking different TV shows, different quarterbacks in the NFC. I at least was in the last episode. But I want to rank running backs with you. That was your position. That was your bread and butter. And I want to start with, let's do all-time running backs. Oof. And we don't have, I'm not putting you on the spot to rank them in order, but top 5 running backs of all time. If you have them in an order, great. If not, no worries. There's a lot of thinking here. And then we can do current NFL running backs also, which might be a little bit more easier to think about.
I mean,
but
no, it's quick where I might not even be able to really just do 5, but just right away, people that hit me are, you know, Jim Brown, Gale Sayers, Barry Sanders, like just old school guys that they could tote the rock. Recent, I would say, like,
before we get into recent, let's do 5 to 1. You can rank 5 to, like, from number 5 in your opinion to number 1. You've been doing a lot of fantasy. You've seen some of the projections. You're not doing that kind of fantasy running backs.
With old or with young?
Just the current players right now. Your fifth running back number 5, and we'll go up from there.
I would say running back number 5, I would put... First one to kind of hit my head was Joe Mixon.
Okay, Joe Mixon.
Just because his workload that he's had to produce year in and year out, you'll see that he's just a guy who he's a dependable running back, but like he's somebody who maybe not be the shiftiest making somebody miss, but he can catch the ball, he can run the ball, and again, he helps Joe Burrow score, and he produces. Maybe, again, not talent-wise, but just like what they can bring to the team, I would say kind of 5th. Next guy I would say is like right now Josh Jacobs. Again, just a solid guy. He may not be the shiftiest, but a tough runner, smart, hits the holes, knows how to read defenses. But then going from 3, 2, 1, I would say it's got to be Austin Eckler, Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley.
Okay, putting Saquon above Christian McCaffrey?
It's only because Christian McCaffrey, he again is somebody who I see as a freak athlete. But he himself, I feel, if you really put the side-by-side, one-on-one film of, he is a person that can catch the ball out of the backfield, can do it all, can run the ball. Even against the Eagles last year, he had that one run where he broke like 3 tackles and finished the run. But he was still, to me, a little bit more of like a one-cut good back, but linear. He could hit it, he could run, he has the speed. But Saquon Barkley makes cuts that nobody else can make, I think, in the league. And he's athletically makes moves that nobody else can do. And then again, he hasn't had the type of people around him that McCaffrey has had. McCaffrey had one of the best defenses last year with one of the best offensive lines. When he was with the Panthers, he did go off his first year, or it might have been the second year where he really killed it in fantasy, but then injuries obviously plague, and then after that he barely had help, so he had hinders. But I just think, again, like athletically, Saquon Barkley, what he can do, how he runs, moves he's made, it's just hard to kind of compete, where if he had some of the offensive lines like the Eagles and the Lions and of others, Baltimore, that it would be scary to see what he can do, and he deserves to get paid. The Giants need to pay him, because I couldn't believe he was so close to sitting out and everything going on. But you know, it's there's a lot of others. Jonathan Taylor was a freak his first year, but again, I saw one video. Somebody said he's walking around like he's 80 years old now, but you know, it takes time
he's
to
trying
heal.
to sell that injury.
But again, I would say there's still some that could be argued, but yeah, I would say that would right now be my top 5.
All right, you heard it here first. We're going to clip it. Coach Jordan Canzeri, it says Saquon's the best running back in the league. Mm-hmm. And we're talking about a little bit all time. I know we transitioned to, you know, the current ones and changed the topic a little quickly, but, you know, the Bears fans in the room didn't hear you say Walter Payton on your list of all time.
Oh, yeah. That's a bad one. Can't forget about Walter Payton.
You said Gale Sayers, which if you didn't say if you didn't say one of them, I mean, they would have been at your throat. But
yeah, that's terrible. I forgot about Walter. But then also I would say in between that, I would like to at least give a shout out to Chris Johnson with the Titans. He had a crazy one year.
What was his nickname? 2K J or something like that?
Yeah, 2K something, yeah. And then Adrian Peterson.
Oh, 100%.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, all day, AP. Mm-hmm. And as a Bears fan, another name that hits us home a little bit. But at least we had Urlacher and Briggs at the time to try to stop him when he was playing. To kind of end our our discussion of NFL, and we'll get into some last fun stuff to chat about with you. Super Bowl predictions. What's your Super Bowl prediction for this year? And we haven't hit week 1, but we'd love to, have this recorded and on the record in case, hey, maybe it hits.
It's tough to root against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
Because I told people, and it, not again to like toot my horn, but I had a lot of people disagree that when Tyreek left, that was going to hurt the Chiefs. And I said, no, it is going to help Mahomes develop into a better quarterback, knowing he needs to spread the wealth. And it did. Mm-hmm. And defensively, and what's great with even watching the QB1 show, but then they also have like on YouTube a whole series of their team going through and winning and everything. And they were talking about how young their DBs were last year and how young their linebacker core was. And then again, getting returning vets like Chris Jones, like they're going to be tough to beat. I even would have said a guy like, Joe Burrow with the Bengals, but who knows how he's going to be after that calf. The coach keeps adding weeks until he's going to get better. And then obviously for, again, AFC, I hope the Jets with Rodgers can really do something because it's been a while since the Jets have been good. And then again, just to see, I like that head coach, just to see something from all the hard work of getting in, and then again, young guys from old, but I feel like that organization has done a good job of just bringing all these different pieces in. I would like to see that. And then NFC-wise, I will say who will be in the race. Eagles, you.
Me?
Yeah.
Bears?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
in
think
the race
so.
to represent the NFC this year?
I think so. And lastly, those are my big two that I've already been saying to myself, but I think that's it.
All right. So you got a couple different teams racing for the. You didn't give us a straight Super Bowl matchup prediction, but we'll take.
If somebody said right now you had to say yes, or we're gonna take everything you pick two teams, we're gonna take everything you own. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to say Eagles, and I really don't want it to happen, but I would say Eagles and Chiefs round 2.
That would be a great Super Bowl. I'm not going to lie. Hey, if it was Eagles and Bears in the NFC Championship game, we wouldn't be mad at all.
hey, right.
Awesome. All right, let's transition to a little bit more off-football topic stuff. You're a social media guy. Have you seen the stuff going on with Musk and Mark Zuckerberg?
Yep.
You see they're going to be, I don't know if it's official, if it's clickbait, but apparently they're going to be fighting in the Coliseum in Rome.
Well, that's what I recently saw, that Elon was stating that Zuck has been, let's do it. We can put the money towards this, we can do this and this and that, and, sign the papers. And then Zuck's like, and then Elon's like, all right, let's do it in the Coliseum. And then he's like, no answer. All right, let's do it for this. No answer. So it's like, I hope it happens. And then you see the footage of, I haven't seen too much on Elon, but Zuck has been working out. He's been getting trained by some top people, and that would be probably one of the most watched, heavily purchased fights ever. And it's sad to even think of, like, 30 years ago to be like, when it's UFC, when it's boxing, it's just tough, determined individuals that have been fighting their whole lives and to work to get to the point. Now, especially with like Jake Paul and Logan Paul doing what they've done with boxing, it's like if you just have the following, you have just the fame. If you just get in a ring, even if you've never even had a fight, you will get paid.
100%.
So I hope it happens. That would be fun to see.
So if you had to put your money on either one, Elon or Zuck, all your money, your life depends on it. Who you picking?
Zuck, 100%.
I couldn't agree with you more.
He's like creepy how he's probably just tucked away in a basement at Facebook headquarters, just nothing else but training. Like, people make all those jokes about how he kind of looks like an alien. He's just like, the things he does is, Elon just seems like a mad scientist who just does stuff out of boredom. So it's like, how serious would he truly be with, he might not want to get embarrassed, but again, like, Zuck's been posting pics of him starting to get a little
Zuck has been training jiu-jitsu way before any of this news came out. When this news first came out, I was like, I will put my life savings on Mark Zuckerberg because I follow him on Instagram. I used to work for Facebook back in the day. I've been drinking the Zuck and Facebook Kool-Aid for years now, since 2016. And once this news came out, I was like, people don't realize if they don't follow him that he's been training jiu-jitsu for like years. And then I saw that image get released of him like shirtless. Like, I knew he was training jiu-jitsu, but I didn't realize he was like so toned and defined. Like, that was like a wake-up call. I'm like, Zuck all the way. If this match happens, I feel like Musk will be the favorite. But in terms of odds, in terms of sports betting, but like, I'm taking Zuck all day. I'm taking the underdog, depending on how Vegas sees it.
Yep. I'm putting my money on Zuck too.
All right. I saw this little bit, not the same bit, but a similar concept that I wanted to try out with you. I don't know if you're scrolling on TikTok or Reels, but blind rankings, right? So there's a list of 5, right? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The topic is since we're approaching week one of my best favorite time of the year, fall and football season, whether it's college or NFL, we're sitting on the couch. If you have the free time to sit there all day or just watch your favorite team play, getting all the food and snacks preparation, and I'm a little hungry too, so I'm salivating over this a little bit, but you'd have to worry about calories, you don't have to worry about money. I'm gonna rapid fire you a few different football foods and snacks that you're going to blind rank from 1 to 5. And at the end of the day, the goal of this exercise is just to kind of have the best ranking without knowing what's coming next. In terms of, hey, if I say XYZ food, you don't know what the next one's going to come.
Oh.
You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah,
so
no, I haven't
you want
seen
to
it, but
balance
I'll give it a
it.
shot.
So if you think it's like the best one, but maybe you think something's
might
be better. All right. So if you get the concept, topic, we're going to be blind ranking football foods and snacks. And I'm going to start off with something a little light. Nachos.
Nachos. Is it just the nacho cheese, or is because some people would be going crazy with the
You could put
dips.
let's just cheese,
just regular
jalapenos,
nachos.
whatever,
Okay.
a certain meat on there, chicken, whatever you're gonna want on there.
Oh, okay. We're adding if it's a loaded nachos.
Loaded nachos, good point.
I'd say 4.
4?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Buffalo chicken wing dip.
Buffalo chicken wing dip, I gotta put at 3. Just
3?
a little bit over nachos.
Buffalo chicken, I respect that. I'm not a
Yeah.
big nachos guy. I don't like paying for it at the bar or restaurant. I think it's too expensive.
Sometimes it's soggy.
You're paying for chips and cheese.
Yep.
Buffalo chicken wing dip at 3. Sliders.
Sliders, I gotta put at 5.
Really?
Yeah. Because you already, as soon as you even started talking, like, I was the same way. Like, I'm hungry too, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let you continue, but the first 2 things that automatically popped in my head, I'm like, yeah, I want right now.
Beer, you gotta have a beverage. Beer, bourbon, your favorite alcoholic beverage. Usually beer is good with football, but
Yeah, well, that's, also for yourself, but for everybody, that's gotta go, because I've already done 5, 4, 3, 2.
Too.
Or you can't flip them, right? Like, once it's stuck at the number.
The whole concept is to kind of have it to be stuck, but I'll ask you, what would you switch after? Well, we got one more.
I would switch it with...
But we got one more.
All right, yeah, go one more, yeah.
Wings.
No, we'll switch. Wings, number
I'll make
one.
it easier. I'll make it for you easier.
Yeah, no, 100%. Right away, I was like, oh, dang, I want some mild wings right now.
What would you switch around?
I'd switch if I really had to, I'd switch the beer for the buffalo dip. So go wings, buffalo dip, beer, nachos, sliders.
Nice. Some honorable mentions I had. I didn't want to set you up for failure too much. I had like veggie and cheese trays on here, mott sticks, chips and dip, all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah, it matters who you're with, where you have to give those options.
Right.
But like, no, I want pizza, wings, sliders, dips, drinks, and that'll be a good day watching a game.
Awesome. Yeah, I cannot wait for week one. I'm going to be sitting there from 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. at night watching all the NFL games. Last 2 minutes here, I want to give you an opportunity, having this as a platform, I'll clip it, I'll promote it, all this good stuff across multiple channels of mine. This is like shameless plug, so anything that you want to promote about the team, whether you guys are doing certain fundraisers, just kind of get people at the games, any certain, ticket sales or promotion, anything like that you can use this as a platform that I'm happy to clip, and put on our page for you to help, grow things behind the scenes here at Troy High, or anything like that you want to let people, a certain event, any of these types of things that you want people to know of.
No, appreciate it. As I said, we're going to have that August 26th. It's our in-house scrimmage, but then again, just to have that community event afterwards. I'm hoping it bridges that gap of some people who don't even have children in the program that might want to just watch, support the scrimmage, and then have something fun to look forward to, some real cool raffle prizes. I might have went a little bit too crazy on them that I'm like, okay, can I really back this up for next year? But I would just say overall, just be excited and just stay on the lookout. Follow if it's just even on my Facebook or my Instagram, I'm going to be posting these things. I'm just really excited for the ideas that I have coming forth, the opportunities, the themes that we're going to choose for the games, just different ideas that I know I have people in the middle school and different elementaries, and I'm really looking forward to turning some of these ideas into life, whether it's community events, giving back, philanthropy events, fundraisers. But just know that Troy football, it's been a great tradition, but I'm looking to make it even better and lot of changes that people have never even seen before that I'm really excited to come for. So just follow and enjoy the ride.
And I'm excited for you. I'm definitely going to be stopping by a couple games. What are they usually Friday nights, right? High school is Friday nights, right?
Yep. And I will say that, I'm really good friends with the head coach for LaSalle, obviously with Troy. That's an in-house rival, Collar City Cup. But I will say at least right now our homecoming is against them. So against a rival, have a trophy, homecoming, and it's going to be televised. So energy is going to be crazy.
It's like you read my damn agenda, because my next question was the last question of the podcast is, do you have a certain game on the schedule circle that means a lot to you, whether it was a rivalry when you were playing here at Troy High, or like maybe the coach on the other side of the field was a linebacker that was kicking your butt, when you were back here, like certain game that you're excited about. Maybe it's just week one to kind of get those jitters out the way. Is there a certain game on the schedule that you have circled? Maybe it's different from the players that you have circled as like, I want this one badly.
I would say it's not really like one in particular, because again, even with our in-city rival, no bad blood, where he's a great person, worked with him on and off many years. I've even worked, when I was doing personal training, worked with LaSalle kids, and like I want to see success on the individual level. But obviously, again, when it comes to football, only one team can win, where I want to win them all. But first game is first, got to just focus on that, where that's where all of my energy and output is, and my excitement towards just getting that first win. So again, I'm confident in the coaching staff I have, the kids, the energy they have right now going forward, and looking forward to week one.
All right. Appreciate you being on the podcast, Coach. Appreciate your time, and good luck this season. Congrats again.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, appreciate you.